Okay, so here's the thing we're not considering.
Okay.
We're always like, Selena can't be the best assassin. What if all the other assassins legitimately suck?
And we're back for chapter 38. We're once again recording first thing, kind of, in the morning. So all I can say is this would be a great time to have Archer talk, because maybe I could do his voice justice again. All right. Chapter 38. The dawn was chill and gray as Selena stood in the familiar field of the game park, a large stick dangling between her gloved fingers. Yay, Fleetfoot gets some attention at long last. Fleetfoot sat beside her, her tail slashing through the long, dried grass that poked up through the remaining layer of snow. I feel like it should have been crushed down, but maybe there was never that much snow at once. But the hound didn't whine or bark for the stick to be thrown. No, Fleetfoot just kept sitting there, watching the palace from far behind them, waiting for someone who was never going to arrive. Look, it's not just, Fleetfoot just happened to, Nehemia more. It's because Selena, you treat this dog like a toy. It's not bonding with you. Because you treat it like a toy. Okay? That you don't care that much about. You treat it like a toy that you barely care about.
Hey,
Selena,
what did you say you used alcohol to get the sticky off of?
Yeah,
your
but I
bottle?
don't know if it works with paper stuff. I used denatured alcohol to remove adhesive.
Denatured. I only have isopropyl alcohol.
We can get the other solvent though tomorrow.
Yeah, that would
So
be
that
fun.
might work. I don't know.
Yeah, I just would like to get the sticky off.
That's right. Tia's working on her sketchbook, and there's stickies on the outside.
Bought this bad boy secondhand. There's 2 sticky adhesive patches that'll stuck onto it.
Selena stared
And
across.
it wasn't even a sketchbook.
And it wasn't even a
Defiling
sketchbook.
a limited edition book. What can I say?
Selena
I'm a
stared.
hater that way.
She's a hater that way in more ways than one, apparently. She's gonna hate on this limited edition Buddha book, Seas of Buddha accordion book, while hating upon Crown of Midnight. Selena stared across the barren field, listening to the sighing grasses. So the grasses they're dry they're dry, but it's been winter. They are partially buried in snow, sticking up through it, but they're also sighing in the wind.
It seems they'd have to be pretty tall to be sighing in the window.
Yeah, and also...
I think it says it's tall grass.
Yeah. The long dried grass.
Yeah.
It's also, for the grass, so this is clearly not, this is not like what many people would call grass.
It's not lawn grass.
It's not lawn grass. It's not like something with blades that are more flimsy. It's definitely got stability.
Well, there's
lots dry and dead and still.
Yeah. There's lots of kind of grasses that are like the foxtails we have on all hill. I don't know if that's a grass, but there's lots of wild grasses that are similar to that. So maybe Rifthold actually believes in not having a manicured lawn, but a more natural native plant lawn to try to encourage pollinators and stuff.
She is at the game park.
That's so true. I would hope they wouldn't have lawns at the game park.
Yeah.
Unless they want the deer to come out into the open. Shooting fish in a barrel.
Yeah. No one had tried to stop her from leaving her room last night, M-, or this morning. Yet even though the guards were gone, whenever she left her room, Ress had an uncanny habit of accidentally running into her. She didn't care if he reported her movements to Kael. She didn't even care that Kael had been spying on her at Nehemia's grave last night. Let him think what he would about the song. With a sharp intake of breath, she hurled the stick as hard as she could. So far, it blended in with the cloudy morning sky. That's really far, because it was a big stick. Don't let people see your magic, Selena. She didn't hear it land. Fleetfoot turned to look at Selena. See, Selena, you don't even know how to play fetch with your dog.
Well, hearing a shot.
Her golden eyes full of question. I was thinking about one of my foster dogs this morning, named Goldie. I was trying to remember who the heck Goldie was, and then I remembered she was the dog who was all golden. And she did have golden eyes, so now I'm imagining Fleetfoot as Goldie.
I don't remember Goldie at all.
I had her for 4 days. It was a extended weekend.
What did she look like? What size was she? She small?
On the smaller side, but she was not a small dog. She was probably in the 40-ish pounds. She was a little overweight. She was likely a perhaps some sort of golden retriever Labrador mix, because she had the coloring of a golden retriever but a short coat.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man, I do not remember her at all.
Yeah, I could not remember her this morning. I was like, what the heck?
Were you just like
What?
looking at the pictures and you were like, who the hell
I
is
didn't
this
have
dog?
a picture. I just had her information for prospective adopters. I don't think I have any pictures of her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I also realized there's a dog who's I have no idea what her name is.
Oh, who?
She was a tan Chihuahua-sized dog.
Kira?
Not Kira.
Oh, okay.
I know Kira. I know Snowy.
Oh, I remember Snowy.
Yeah, but there's this other one who I'm like, who is this? It's not Toasty, because I'm sure it's a female dog. Also, Toasty was thicker.
Isn't Snowy the one who sat with you when you got your tonsils, your wisdom teeth out?
Yeah.
Okay, that was Snowy.
Yeah,
okay.
she was a Parsons Jack Russell Terrier Chihuahua thing.
She was-
I have videos of her. She was fun. Anyways, enough about my beloved foster dogs.
Enough lore!
Roar! Back to Fleetfoot turned to look at Selena, her golden eyes full of question. Selena reached down to stroke the warm head, the long ears, the slender muzzle. But the question remained.
Man, she literally does not know how to play fetch with her dog.
Literally, Selena said, "She's never coming back." The dog kept waiting. Clearly, it was Nehemiah's dog.
Yeah.
Because who was looking we now know who was looking after Selena's dog when Selena was doing absolutely nothing with her.
Yeah.
Nehemia. There's that question answered. Dorian had spent half the night in the library searching in forgotten crevices, scouring. Oh, he's going to find the door next. He's just going to open it.
What the?
Scouring forgotten crevices, scouring every dark corner, every hidden nook for any book on magic. There were none. It wasn't surprising, but given how many books were in the library and how many twisting passages there were, he was a little disappointed that nothing of worth could be found. He didn't even know what he would do with a book like that once he found it. He could bring it back to his room, since his servants weren't likely to find it there. Really? Servants don't clean your room? Dorian?
Shitty ass up.
He would probably have to put it back in its hiding place. Oh, wait, it said his servants were likely to find it there.
Oh.
My apologies.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
He would probably have to put it back in its hiding place, and return to it whenever he could. He was scanning a bookshelf built into a stone alcove when he heard footsteps. One of the creaky old librarians has appeared. Immediately, just as he rehearsed, he took out the book he'd tucked within his jacket and leaned against the wall, opening it to a random page. "It's a little dark for reading," a female voice said. She sounded so normal, so like herself, that Dorian nearly dropped the book. Selena was standing a few feet away, arms crossed. Pitter-pattering feet echoed across the floor, and a moment later Dorian braced himself against the wall as Fleetfoot flung herself at him, all wagging tail and bountiful kisses. "Gods, you're huge," he told the dog. She licked his cheek one last time and sprinted, so she can reach his cheek now, unless he crouched down, which it didn't say. It just said he flattened himself against the wall, so
It doesn't sound like crouching to me, yeah.
So she's a huge golden dog.
And only a puppy.
And only a puppy. She's still no more than 6 months. Selena, are you feeding this dog appropriately for a giant breed puppy? How do you feed it? Are you limiting?
She doesn't.
She doesn't.
Nehemiah's dead, and I was going to be like, what's wrong with my dog?
What's wrong with my dog? Why is its limbs all painful? Why is it so lame suddenly? My lady, ma'am, you must limit the calcium phosphorus ratio. It is too much. It is too much.
You want to be prepping more of my sketchbook pages while we listen?
Yeah, you've given up panosteitis. I think it's panosteitis is what happens to fast-growing large breed puppies.
If they don't have enough, like always, or if you just don't give them the right amount.
If they grow too fast, really. That's the main issue is growing too fast, but I mean, sometimes it can just happen, I'm sure.
What is it?
It's inflammation of
The joints?
the long bones.
Oh.
So pan, meaning like all over, osteitis, you've got inflammation of the bones. It's the periosteum, so like the outer layer of the bones, really.
Does it go away?
Yeah, they can recover from it, but there's like no treatment other than like, here's some pain control, wait for it to grow out of it. So sorry this happened.
Oh, man.
Let's try and manage your dog appropriately. We don't want it growing this fast.
Oh, because I guess you can feed it things to make it grow faster.
Yeah.
I know at least with birds you can do that.
And well, it's not even that people are intentionally trying to get them to grow bigger or faster. If you feed large breed dogs that grow fast normal puppy food, it's bad for them.
Well, yeah, but surely there's a kind of food that is meant for large breed dogs who grow fast. Mm-hmm. And then would that bone condition still happen to them if you're feeding them the right diet? I mean, it could,
but be much less likely, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The main thing with large breed puppy food is instead of having a minimum for calcium and phosphorus, because normally that's what we do. We say it has a minimum of this because dogs will absorb what they need and then excrete the rest. So as long as we have more than what they need, we're good. But with large breed puppies, you don't want them to have too much because then their bones go, whoa, we're going crazy.
Calcium.
Bro!
Precious calcium.
So you actually need to have a max and a min. So they have less calcium than what is in other foods. So that's why they should be fed a large breed puppy.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure there's other reasons too, but that's like a big reason. That's why she didn't want to play fetch. She's got panosteitis. She licked his cheek one last time and sprinted off down the hall. Dorian watched her go, brows raised. I'm fairly certain that whatever she's about to do, it won't make the librarians happy.
Fuck the librarians.
She knows to stick to the poetry and mathematic books. Selena's face was grave and pale, but her eyes shone with faint amusement. She wore a dark blue tunic he'd never seen before, with golden embroidery that glinted in the dim light. In fact, her whole outfit looked new. Yeah, because she destroyed it all. And Paulina works fast. Is her name Paulina?
Philippa.
There's a P. Philippa works fast. The silence that settled between them then made him shift on his feet. What could he possibly say to her? The last time they'd been this close, she'd grazed her nails across his neck. He'd had nightmares about that moment. Can I help you find anything? He asked her. Keep it normal. Keep it simple. Crown Prince and Royal Librarian? Unofficial Royal Librarian, he said. A title hard won after many years of hiding here to avoid stuffing meetings and my mother and, well, everything else. And here I am, thinking you just hid in your little tower.
Oh, I do that too.
Dorian laughed softly, but the sound somehow killed the amusement in her eyes, as if the sound of merriment was too raw against the wound of Nehemiah's death. Keep it simple, he reminded himself. So, is there a book I can help you find? Is there a list of titles in your hand that I can look them up in the catalog?
Man, so you said keep it simple, and which made me think of keep it secret, keep it safe. But it made me think of that because we did that meme in my class talking about documentation and development, saying keep it current, keep it brief. I just gotta pop
keep it cut, keep it brief. No, she said, folding the paper in half. No, there's no book. I just wanted a walk. And he'd just come to a dark corner of the library to read. But he didn't push it, if only because she could easily start asking him questions too. If she remembered what had happened when she attacked Kael, that is. He hoped she didn't. There was a muffled shriek from somewhere in the library, followed by a string of howled curses and the familiar pitter-patter of paws on stone. Then Fleetfoot came sprinting down the row, a scroll of paper in her jaws.
It seems like she should be too big to piddle-paddle. Also, I don't think piddle-paddle is associated with when you're sprinting.
Yeah.
Like, piddle-paddle.
Claws should be scratching if she's running. Also, no respect, like, at this time, books are valuable. Like, even if the king doesn't value them and he's destroyed a bunch of them, books are still hard to make and could be rare, and you're letting your dog into the library to destroy things.
Why on earth should Selena give a fuck about anything, you know?
So true. Selena literally does not care because it doesn't concern her own desires and wants. Wicked beast! A man shouted. Come back here at once! Fleetfoot just zoomed on by, a blur of gold. A moment later, when the little librarian came waddling into view and asked if they'd seen a dog, Selena only shook her head and said that she had heard something, from the opposite direction, and then she told him to keep his voice down because this was a library. His eyes shooting daggers at her, the man huffed and scuttled away, his shouting a bit softer. When he was gone, Dorian turned to her, brows high on his... I'm just so bothered by the dog being in here. I am so bothered by that. Like, there's no reason for me to expect else from this book. But I was like, oh my gosh, could we...
And all of this and the damn dog?
And the damn dog. And it is, of course, not Fleetfoot's fault that she does not know better.
Oh, yeah.
She's not socialized to this sort of area. She's not old enough and trained well enough to be here. I'm going to smack Selena.
Smack the microphone.
I'm not smacking my precious microphone. Microphone, I could never smack you. Hey, don't tap my microphone. Precious microphone. Anyways, I'm really bugged by this. I'm bugged with, as I say, I am bugged with anything that has to do with Fleetfoot. This is no exception.
This is no exception.
When he was gone, Dorian turned to her, brows high on his head. The scroll could have been invaluable. She shrugged. He looked like he could use the exercise.
Yeah, so it's fine to torment someone because they're fat, which it sounded like because they said waddled, which is not a term you usually use with a skinny person.
Uh-huh.
Man, not only is Selena just stupid and annoying, she's also a bully.
Yeah.
So, man, really fantastic protagonist, Maas. You're really endearing her to your readers.
Yeah, and I mean, you can have a protagonist who starts off not great and changes, but we have not seen any character growth in nearly 2 books.
There was no character growth.
At least not in these things. I don't know. Maybe there's character growth elsewhere, and people who love the books will be like, oh no, all these things have changed, but like where it counts, no. She's still awful.
Yeah.
She shrugged. Oh, no, we don't need to read that line again. And then she smiled, hesitant at first. Then she shook her head, and the smile bloomed wide enough to show her teeth. It was only when she looked at him again that he realized he'd been staring, trying to sort out the difference between this smile and the smile she'd given his father the day she'd put Graves' head on the council table. As if she could read his thoughts.
What's his name?
Grave?
Oh, but it's possessive for Graves' head.
Yes.
Never mind. Continue.
Were you going to say, you forgot his name? His name, they added an S.
I was gonna say something about it.
As if she could read his thoughts, she said, I apologize for my behavior lately. I haven't, ellipsis,
Been myself.
Literally, that's what it said.
Man, hey, iconic predictability.
Iconic. What
so
a
J.
platitude.
Maas could always.
Sarah could. Or she'd just been a part of herself that she usually kept on a tight leash, he thought. But he said, I understand. And from the way her eyes softened, he knew that was all he'd ever needed to say. Once again, we have a new character. Not a new character. I mean, we have a new perspective. We've got Kale, so once again, we're getting all 3 of them in a chapter. Maas, could you please make up your mind on how many character POVs? Because, like, before this, we rarely had all 3 of them in a chapter. Like, before this part, and now we keep having all 3 of them and longer chapters. Like, can you not just stick with one character? You're like, I just have this one scene, but I have no idea what else to put with it. So let's just combine a bunch of POVs.
Hey, she has one scene, she thinks of scenes and shoddily stitches them together.
Exactly. Let's see what this scene is. Kale wasn't hiding from his father. He hadn't hid from Selena, and he wasn't hiding from his men, who now felt some ridiculous urge to look after him. He's so submissive and breedable. Did you see how he was beaten by Selena? Gosh, we gotta look after him. We gotta watch his ass.
Maybe watch out for our own, and that's all booty.
That's our lane captain. No one else can beat him up. Only us with our words when he's not around.
Only us doing break. Only us around the water cooler.
Only us around the water cooler. I love that. But the library, oh my gosh.
All these bitches in the library
did offer a good amount of refuge and privacy. Maybe answers, too. The head librarian wasn't in the little office tucked into one of the walls of the library, so Kale had asked an apprentice.
Unlike Kale, the head librarian has a job to do, and they be doing it.
They be doing it. They're not always in their office.
Yeah.
They have meetings. They have to go clean up shit.
No, that's
literally
That's literally for the apprentices. Major cleanup on major cleanup on IO Chapter 4, and the apprentice is like, I'm literally not paid enough to do this. I'm paid $11 an hour.
Also, if it were the a common occurrence, I feel like yes, it'd be the apprentices, but they said, hey, there's dog poop in the library, and the head librarian was like, there's what? You're lying. Tia is demonstrating the head librarian walking on down to show that they're lying.
They don't walk, they strut.
And then Sachet, the true best character. I had to ask an apprentice.
Of course, the best character is a character that Sarah J. Maas has never touched. You know, as soon as she touches them, she ruins them. What can I say?
The gawking youth pointed, gave some vague directions, and told him good luck. I'm sorry, apprentice, but your life depends on this apprenticeship. You need to be like, oh yes, I will take you there. I will take you there.
Also, gawking youth, bitch, you're a youth.
Yeah, you're a youth. Granted, though, an apprentice, so probably 13.
Yeah, when do they start?
Was Isaiah Thomas 8?
He started when he was 6, but he started only
he started really early.
Because of the circumstances.
Mm-hmm. So, possibly preteen.
Yeah.
He's preteen.
You know what, fine. He can call them a youth.
Oh, yeah, because remember, Kale's like 22, 23, so he would be a journeyman. But he doesn't have a craft.
Fucking journeyman! And he's the captain of the guard! Is there no decorum? Is there no fallback so when the wheel captain dies, Kale, the brand new journeyman, doesn't have to be made captain? The pussyfresh journeyman?
Kale followed the boy's directions up a sweeping flight of black marble stairs and along the mezzanine rail. All right,
man,
Sarah J. Maas, you can no longer use the term mezzanine.
How many mezzanines? How many mezzanines must you eat before your skin will then turn pink? How many? She said mezzanine every other sentence at the end of part 1. How many times is she going to say it here?
I only see it once with my quick skim through, but that's good because this is her last allowed mezzanine. It comes up again.
We sue.
I've copyrighted mezzanine, actually.
That is the copyrighted name I use for my boyfriend.
That's the copyrighted name I use for my deck. Mezzanine.
For my deck. The mezzanine.
The mezzanine rail. He was about to turn down an aisle of books when he heard them speaking. Actually, he heard Fleetfoot prancing first. Click, click, click of the claws.
Did it say that?
No, that's me. That's what you mean you hear. The click, click, click of the claws.
Yeah, because I bet her toes aren't trimmed properly.
I mean, they could be trimmed. We have no idea what she does all day. She could be sent out to work with the other dogs outside.
You know,
They could be worn down. Let's not jump to any conclusions. However, I'm going to say it's the click, click, click you hear, not the pad, 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 because dogs on their foot pads, very quiet. When their claws are hitting hard things, not so quiet. Click, click, click.
Wait. Dogs on the foot pads are very quiet.
Yes, if it's just their pads.
Yeah.
They're quiet.
And?
So you don't really hear he wouldn't be like, oh, I hear the voices, but actually I heard the dog padding around and then I heard the voices.
Oh, no.
No, unless you're hearing click, click of claws. Or if it's a great beast pounding.
Click, click, click. Do, 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 do,
Anyways,
do, do,
alright.
do,
Oh
do.
my gosh, every time something with Fleetfoot comes up. He heard Fleetfoot's prancing first and looked over the marble rail in time to see Selena and Dorian walking toward the towering main doors. They were a comfortable, casual distance apart,
Hey,
but
how much is left?
too much.
Okay, I have enough time
4
for start
pages.
inking.
Yeah, you start that inking.
Because when we read our next thing, I want to go downstairs so I can cook or something, since we don't record the next thing we read.
Okay.
And I'm hungry, okay? I didn't eat
hungry
dinner
too.
last night. I'm hungry.
I didn't eat dinner last night either.
That's just because I did eat the entire afternoon. That's not important, though.
It's not important.
That's not important.
Come to a casual distance, but ellipsis, but she was talking. Her shoulders were relaxed, her gait smooth. Oh my gosh.
We hate jealousy.
We hate jealousy. So different from the woman of shadow and darkness that he'd seen yesterday.
The only jealousy I like is Fëanor jealous of the Silmarils. Can I get
yo.
man?
Hey, man. He's not jealous of the Silmarils.
He is.
He's enthralled. The Silmarils enthralled. There's your Silmarillion lore.
Ow! My toe.
Her toe, everyone.
Can I have an F in the chat for my toe, please?
Please, an F in the chat for her toe. What were the two of them doing here, M-Dash? Together. It wasn't his business. Frankly, he was
fucking
grateful.
reading study buddies. Ever heard of it? I bet you don't read it. The only thing he reads is reports and Selena's lies.
Frankly, he was just grateful that she was talking to anyone and not burning her clothes or butchering rogue assassins. That wasn't a rogue assassin. That was an assassin doing what an assassin's got to do. I'm only doing what a ninja's got to do. Still, something twanged in his heart that Dorian was the one beside her. But she was talking, so Kael quickly turned from the balcony rail and walked deeper into the library, trying to shove the image from his mind. He found Harlan Sansel, the head librarian, huffing and puffing down one of the main paths through the library, shaking a fistful of paper shreds at the air around him. Sansel was so busy cursing that he hardly noticed when Kael I love Sansel already. Maas might try to obliterate his character, but she cannot. Just like she cannot truly obliterate Archer to me. This is no longer Archer. Archer fled.
Yeah.
This is a doppelganger. Was so busy cursing that he hardly noticed when Kael stepped into his path. The librarian had to tilt his head back to see Kael and then frowned at him. Good you're here. This, Sensel, I almost called him the Sensual. Sensel said, and resumed walking. Higgins must have sent word. Kael had no idea what Sensel was talking about.
Man, if...
This... Is there something that you need assistance with? Issue! Sensel waved the shredded paper. There are feral beasts running amok in my library. Who let them? Who let that Imdash, that creature in here? I demand that they pay. Kael had a feeling that Selena had something to do with this. He just hoped she and Fleetfoot were out of the library before Sensel reached his office. What sort of scroll was damaged? I'll see to it that they replace it. Replace it? Sensel sputtered. Replace this? What exactly is it? A letter from a very close friend of mine. He bit back his annoyance. If it's just a letter, then I don't think the creature's owner can offer a payment, though perhaps they'd be happy to donate a few books and throw them in the dungeon. My library has become little more than a circus. Do you know that there's a cloaked person skulking about the stairs all hours of the night? They probably unleashed the horrible beast in the library, so track them down and... Imdash. The dungeons are full. Kael lied.
The dungeons have 2 people in them, Kael.
Also, you didn't need to say Kael lied, because I think it's going to be pretty obvious that the dungeons aren't full. So, like, saying Kael lied just... It's like, you don't need to say that.
How stupid do you think your audience is?
Yeah, how stupid do you think we is?
Pretty stupid if you think we're gonna get along with this bullshit you write.
But I'll look into it. Well, Sensel finished his rant about the truly exhausting hunt he'd gone on to retrieve the letter, Kael debated whether he should just leave. But he had questions, and once they reached the mezzanine, no!
Hey, another thing for the box. Yeah, I make a complaint to our security, and they just completely brush me off.
Okay, also, is it a mezzanine at this point? Because a mezzanine is like a partial floor, and how could you walk away from the mezzanine and now no longer be on the mezzanine and then walk back over to it and be like, okay, now I'm on the mezzanine.
If you're underneath it.
No, but he was on the mezzanine this whole time.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
I don't think he's left the mezzanine. It never said he went down.
I don't know how you would get off the mezzanine.
Unless they're like, oh, they went through a door, so technically they're in a different room. So then they came back through the door, and now they're in the mezzanine. It's still the same floor.
I have from speech.
Anyways, it could be a mezzanine. I'm just sick and tired of seeing this word. They reached the mezzanine, and he was certain that Selena, Fleetfoot, and Dorian were long gone. He said, I have a question for you, sir. Sensel preened and at the honorific, and Kael tried his best to look uninterested. Dude, would it hurt you to look interested? You could look eager. You could look earnest. You're like, I have a question for you. Instead of, I have a question for you. If I wanted to look up funeral dirges, laments, for other kingdoms, where would be the best place to start? Sensel gave him a confused look, then said, what a dreadful subject. Kael shrugged and took a shot in the dark. One of my men is from Terrasen, and his mother recently died, so I'd like to honor him by learning one of their songs. Is that what the king pays you to do, Imdash? Learn sad songs with which to serenade your men? Fair point, librarian.
Which is
fair
true,
point.
but also librarian, you should
Also, the
gas
librarian
any
should be
book
really
up.
into it. Yeah. He is actually. Maas just won't let him.
Yeah.
He almost snorted at the idea of serenading his men. Oh, because it's far too gay. That's far not masculine enough. He's such a masculine man.
Hey, I just think manning around with another man is ultra masculine.
And what's more masculine than manning around with another man? Manly.
Masculinity.
Masculinity with your manhood. He almost snorted at the idea of serenading his men, but shrugged again. Are there any books where those songs might be? Even a day later, he couldn't get the song out of his head, couldn't stop the chill that went up his neck when its words echoed through his mind. Dude, you'll never find that song unless you can read music, remember the melody. The book has music written down, because you don't know what the words were.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you, if you do not know the language and you don't have, like, some really good talent with languages, you're not going to be like, oh, I remember the phonetic sounds of the words she made so I can figure out just from a transliteration when I found the right thing. No, you can't.
Me looking at the ancient book tome, I can do this. Uka shaka, uka shaka. I can't stop this feeling.
Couldn't stop the chill that went up his neck when the words echoed through his mind. And then there were those other words, the words that had changed everything. You will always be my enemy. She was hiding something, Imdash, a secret she kept locked up so tight that only the horror and shattering loss of that night could have made her slip in such a way. So the more he could discover about her, the better chance he stood of being prepared when the secret came to light. The little librarian said, walking down the main steps. Well, most of the songs were never written down, and why would they be? Surely the scholars in Terrasen recorded some of them. Orinth had the greatest library in Aurelia at one point, Kael countered. That they did. Sensel said, a twinge of sorrow in his words, but I don't think anyone ever bothered to write down their dirges, at least not in a way that would have made it here. What about in other languages? My guard from Terrasen mentioned something about a dirge he once heard sung in another tongue, Imdash, though he never learned what it was. My dude, you'll never find it. They were close to the office, and he knew
coming up
that
to the librarian. Can you help me find a book? Its cover is blue.
They were close to the office, and he knew that once they arrived, the little bastard would probably shut him out until he brought Fleetfoot to justice. Kael pressed a bit harder. So there's no dirges in Terrasen that are sung in a different language? No, he said, drawing out the word as he pondered. But I once heard that in the High Court of Terrasen, when the nobility died, they sang their laments in the tongue of the Fae. Of course.
Listen, how good... Well, let's see. Is there something that I learned when I was 8 or younger that I can still remember that I don't use very often? Because, Selena was from the High Court. Mm-hmm. How often did she hear the dirges? She left when she was 8.
I mean, she probably heard the dirges a lot when Terrasen was being obliterated.
Yeah, that's kind of true. I just, how did she know
would
this?
Would she still be able to sing them unless she, was rehashing them to herself through the years? Maybe she was.
Could have been. It could happen.
It could happen. Stranger things have happened. I'm not going to draw the line there at impossibility when this book is like this. Kael's blood froze and he almost tripped, but he managed to keep walking and said, would those songs have been known by anyone, Imdash? Not just the nobility? Oh, no, Sensel said, only half listening as he recited whatever history was in his head. Those songs were sacred to the court. Only those of noble blood ever learned to sing them. They were taught and sung in secret, their dead buried by the light of the moon when no other ear could hear them. At least that's what rumor claimed. I'll admit to my own morbid curiosity that I'd hoped to hear them 10 years ago, but by the time the slaughter had ended, there was no one left in those noble houses to sing them.
And that's kind of like fucked up. I kind of like it though. It's like, oh yeah, I wanted to heal though death villages, but we killed all of them. So
Killed everyone who could sing them. No one except Ellipsis. You will always be my enemy. I have to do that every time I say unitalicise it.
You'll always be my da-dun-dun, da-dun-dun enemy.
Thank you. Kale got out, then quickly turned away, walking toward the exit. Yeah, heaven forbid he get roped into doing anything that the captain of the guard at the palace should do. Like, probably dealing with nuisance things should be what the captain of the guard at the palace does. What else is he supposed to do? Yeah. Is he just honorary? It does seem like it's clearly simply an honorary for show position.
The other thing he should do is get into his prince's bed, but, you know.
At the very least, he should say, oh, that's not my thing to deal with. Here's who you need to talk about small matters of pests.
Yeah, pest control.
The game warden.
We walk together a lot, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, what's the point of the guard captain if not to get into the prince's bed on occasion? Just so he can try things out.
Just, you know, he's making sure it's safe.
Making sure it's safe.
They participate in extremely safe.
Walking toward the exit, Cecil called after him, demanding his oath that he'd find the dog and punish it, but Kale didn't bother to reply. Which house did she belong to? Her parents hadn't just been murdered, M-. They were parts of the nobility who had been executed by the king. Slaughtered. She'd been found in their bed, M- after they'd been killed, and then she must have run until she found the place where a Terraston noble's daughter could hide, the Assassin's Keep. She'd learned the only skill that could keep her safe. To escape death, she became death. But not a very good one.
Yeah.
Regardless of what territory her parents had lorded over, if Selena ever took up the mantle she'd lost, and if Terraston ever got to its feet, then Selena could become a powerhouse, potentially capable of standing against Otterland, and that made Selena more than just his enemy. It made her the greatest threat he'd ever encountered.
Man, the way I don't give a fuck about anything going on.
Yeah.
I thought she was already a powerhouse.
I don't know, that's what she's portrayed as, but we've seen her. She ain't no powerhouse.
She's the greatest threat he's ever encountered. Is she not the greatest threat you've ever encountered so far?
Yeah.
Have you not seen the plot armor on this bitch?
Huh. It is unremarkable, but truly impenetrable.
Yeah. This book is so stupid.
All right, my takeaways, as from the very beginning of the chapter, which I went to at length, I do not like how this dog is incorporated in the book. Granted, I think this might be something that I take issue with more books. I just haven't come across many books with dogs as, like, pets in the book, so I might object to those too. However, I probably will not object as stringently unless those books too thoroughly irritate me, like this one does. But yeah, turns out I don't like, not only do I not like dog movies about dogs and other animals, I don't like books that include pets because I don't feel like it's done well, apparently. Certainly not Fleetfoot. Any closing thoughts from you?
No.
Yeah, it wasn't a particularly horrific chapter. I just hate stuff with this pet. All right.
Wait, hold on. Yes, I do have thoughts. Man, the way that K.R. was like, oh, I gotta try to get information from this guy before he makes me do something. Moron. I don't like how this narrative is built well. Anyone who's not actively helping the protagonists are portrayed as, like, annoying, petty, stupid.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it's like, oh, it's fine to torment them because, you know, they're not helping us, and he's fat, so it's okay to make him run, you know? I don't like the bullying aspect of Selena. God, she's such an awful protagonist. I don't like how, you know, KR, and I don't have other examples that I can think of right now, but it seems like a lot of, like, KR and Dorian are like, oh, I don't want to do anything with anyone else. I just want to get what I want, and everyone's so annoying, and... you know?
Yeah. I mean, which, from Dorian's perspective as a prince,
Sure.
I feel like that could be great, except, like, he's also portrayed as not being just, like, wholly self-centered. See, that could have been something that we could have seen as character development in, say, the first book.
Yeah.
Like, you could have seen Dorian change. Like, he's like, oh, yeah, I only got her because I thought she was going to be great. I didn't care about her. She's nothing to me. And then we could have seen some building up there and, like, some growth of him being like, oh, wait, actually. But no, we don't get to see that. It's just, like, some mild, oh, she's a horrible assassin. Dangerous. But that's more from Kale. But, like, you know.
Yeah.
Anyways. But actually, she has tremendous sex appeal. The mouses go wild. Anyways. All right, everyone.
Let's just say how skinny Indoville ass drove him wild.
I guess that's it for today. Would always, of course, love to know what you have opinions on with this chapter. Anyways, have a nice day. Have a nice day. I'm sure no one understood what I just said.